I think everything, the whole of human creativity and creation can be told and should be told as a story. Stories are about people. And one of the things I've always had an approach to history about is it's not just about movements, it's not just about economic statistics, it's about people. It's who we are and what we do to each other. And that to me makes history come alive. That's where storytelling is so important. If we can take these big concepts and make them personal and make sure that these great stories are about ordinary people, that's when you get the connection. And politics should be about ordinary people, not just about the rulers at the top, but ordinary people out there. And when you can get stories which link the two and bridge that gap, then you have a mature and much more honest and fruitful relationship. It's when governments and institutions get too far away from those that they are supposed to be dealing with, and you get a no man's land which is sterile, and you get no real communication, no stories, and they are treated, those institutions are treated simply as bricks and mortar rather than as a collection of people who are trying to do good things. That's when it all begins to fail. So the ability to be able to tell stories and bridge that gap is hugely important. Why is House of Cards a great hit in China? Why is Borgen a great hit outside of Denmark? Not because people are fascinated with the details of a Danish coalition government, which I assure you they are not. What is compelling is the fact that they see people. They see politicians as real flesh and blood people. They can begin to identify with them. You've got, for instance, a female Prime Minister of Denmark in Borgen, who's having trouble at home with the husband, with the kids. Well, we all can identify with that, and all of a sudden that prime ministerial figure, that distant prime ministerial figure, is sitting next to us. I mean, we're sharing something now very, very important. And the same with House of Cards in a slightly different way. The fact that the Chinese are really keen on House of Cards, the American version, is not because I think they are so wrapped up in the details of congressional bills. It's the fact that at last they can see world leaders also as human beings. I have to say, in the House of Cards, not very nice human beings, but that doesn't matter. They're flesh and blood, and you get a relationship. And when Frank Underwood turns to the camera and talks to you directly, the camera, you become part of his world. And it's a wonderful gift, which of course politicians by and large can't do. If people compare me to Shakespeare, then I'm blown away. It's not true. Shakespeare is being read and enjoyed and understood hundreds of years after he wrote it. But he wrote beautifully. He used words wonderfully effectively, and certainly he's an inspiration to all writers, because words mean something, and if you can concentrate on the power of those words as words, then your writing is enhanced. But what Shakespeare did is he took some very complex ideas and he brought them down to earth. He made them approachable by everyone. So, and Shakespeare actually was one of the great inspirations for my book, House of Cards. And it's a story that goes all the way back to almost the origins of Rome. Julius Caesar. It's a play that I read, and it's all about a great man with flaws being hacked and stabbed to death by his best friends. Well, that is actually what House of Cards is about too. And to think that Shakespeare did that sort of 400 odd years ago, I read it not quite 400 years ago when I was younger, but it took me all the way back to a different country and a different culture 2,000 years ago. I think it's fantastic. It's a wonderful, wonderful skill to have. And if I have a small part of that skill, being able to put people in touch with different ideas, different cultures, different parts of history, because I've written about Winston Churchill too as a man, not as a politician, but as a man, then I think I will have achieved something.